Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for the brand new video, and it's time for me and thee to try and put the domestic frustrations behind us as we look ahead to what is a European day on the old calendar and needing some European magic to distract us for how crap the domestic stuff is. How many times I'll be able to say that. Look at any of troops because I just don't think I could handle what the answer of that question actually is. But a question of an answer that I am very interested in is how much of a test is tomorrow's opposition going to be? And that's what takes us to today's video. So as we go ahead and discuss it, as always, if you don't mind hitting the like button, I'd be greatly appreciated. And subscribing if you are new around here, as we are about, I think 600 away from 65k already, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for subscribing and helping the channel out. But let's go ahead and discuss tomorrow's opposition then, shall we? And that is FCSB, or if you're a wee bit of the older persuasion like myself, a team that you may be familiar with by a name that they used to run by, Bucharest. But again, that's almost a controversial topic to actually break down and discuss because it is such court case drama. There's lawsuits, there's suing here, there's frustrations here. It is a bit of a mad scenario why the name change happened, why they went this way, and it's a very highly volatile situation, so I'm not really wanting to get involved with it because truly I'm not smart enough to know the ins and outs of it. And secondly, we're actually here to talk about the football, and that's what we're here to talk about. So I'll try to remember to call them FCSB, but if I do slip in the old Bucharest now and then, I do apologise to anyone I may offend. But pulling it in to the reins, let's go ahead and talk about them as a footballing side, because at my current time of recording, FCSB sit 5th in the Romanian league, which is something they've not really become accustomed to over the last couple of years, especially last season where they were absolutely standing on their way to winning the Romanian league. But they've been poor this season. They've been stumbling over themselves, they've been falling, and they've been really stuck in the mud, especially earlier on in the campaign. A wee perfect example of that and how poor they've been this year compared to last year. Prior to the playoffs that the Romanian football had, it's a little bit like the split, but obviously they play out to see who wins the league title. Prior to that, they had played 30 games in the league and they had lost just 4 games. Where we sit right now at my current time of recording, they've played 12 games in the league and they've already lost 4. That there tells you how different and how strange the season's been for them. And that complacency has been a real frustration and a voice of concern from the fans, the manager and everything around, because they just don't recognise the squad at the start of the old season, especially as they kept a lot of their major pieces and their bigger and best players. So what was going on? Well, unfortunately for every Rangers fan, that complacency has begun to change as they've started to show a little bit of a thing called consistency, what they hadn't had for a lot of the season, because after a horrific start that saw them again lose 4 games in their opening 8 in all competitions, they are now at my current time of recording on an undefeated run through 10 games in which they managed to win 8, scoring 19 goals and only conceding 8 during that run as well. They are beginning to get back to clicking, they are beginning to find themselves, and they're starting to look a bit like their old self last season, as right now in terms of league football, despite sitting 5th with the run that they are now on, they are the most informed team in that league over the last 5 games. So they might be sitting 5th, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't think they'll be there very long. They're up and cooking now, they're finding their feet, they're battering teams, they're scoring loads of goals, and they're once again going on those undefeated runs. And I can't really explain to you how annoying that is and how crap that is for me to say, because I'll be honest with you, as you know, I do actually put, well, I hope you know that I do put a lot of effort into this channel. When I know we're playing team, I pay attention to them, I watch them, I see how they're getting on. And a couple months ago when I'd seen the draw and I seen we were playing them and everything like that, I went, alright, and I started paying attention. I was like, right, they're in turmoil, the manager's calling out the players are playing poorly, the fans are raging, they're playing badly, they're already lost a certain amount of game. I'm excited, I'm like, right, that'll be a guaranteed 3 points, we should butcher them at old ibrox. But no, they're back to playing well, scoring a lot of goals, keeping the back door shut and showing real resiliency. It shows you how different and how quickly confidence and belief can inject a squad and how quickly it can change their entire outlook, as it's a complete 180 in the space of what? A month? But as we always say, especially with the old European previews, the domestic form and how they're playing doesn't really matter, as it doesn't always translate to success at the European level. I mean, just we've seen some examples this season alone with Malmo, the high-flying, undefeated, smashing teams, winning everything in sight. Domestically, we go to their gaff, pull their scants down and run all over them, not even allowing them to get a shot on target. And then on the flip side of that, you saw a Lyon side who was struggling in the league, struggling with this, looking like this, come to Ibrox and absolutely batter us, showing just the difference in quality, especially from an individual level. Sorry, and if we're being honest, we are the perfect example of domestic success doesn't always mean European success, because we've not been that successful in domestic football, but we've actually punched well above our weight and done really well on the European stage over the last couple of years. So there's just something different when it gets to the European stage. So we're going to move away from the domestic side, breaking down the Romanian side, because I want to go ahead and talk about them to Europe, because there is some similarities with us, but also showing there is some threat there as well. And as we mentioned, there is some real similarities, and that's the fact that both sides were in the Champions League qualifiers at the start of the season and would eventually bow out of the Champions League at the exact same stage. However, the major difference was that the FCSB had to fight their way to the third round of qualifying, where they put 11 goals over 2 games, ladies and gentlemen, by Vitris, which again is maybe early entry fodder level of opposition. You might not look too much into that, but again, scoring 11 goals over 2 games is impressive. It shows they've at least got a wee bit of sun. But it's the next round that maybe tells you where this team actually is they went ahead and put out Tel Aviv, which again is a tough side, especially away for home. And after drawing the opening game versus Tel Aviv, they then had to go away, and they managed to qualify for the third round of the Champions League qualification thanks to a 90th minute winner over there, which again shows you the level. Now, unfortunately, the level wasn't enough to put out familiar foe Sparta Praha, as they got knocked out by 1 goal over the 2 legs after, again, having a good result away from home, but struggling to perform at home, as they went ahead and lost 3-2 and got knocked out of the all competition. That saw them go down to the Europa League qualifiers, and they went ahead and done that thanks to an away performance, scoring 1 goal. And that leads them to the Europa League group stages, ladies and gentlemen, where I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but they are one of 5 teams that has got maximum points in the Europa League group stages. When you look at some of the teams, the Ajaxes, the Manchester United, some of the teams that's actually in there, you would expect to have won their opening 2 games. FCSB is up there with maximum points after 2 games, and again, one of only 5 teams to achieve that, Lyon and Spurs, etc., being the others. So aye, they've done alright. Now, to be fair, their first game they should be winning anyways. They played Latvian side RFS. You're expecting them to beat them, and beat them they did by the scoreline of 4-1. But it was their second game. PAOK, especially away in Greece, it can be a very difficult place to go there and play, and they managed to go to another away day and score and win in that game, beating them 1-0, which again gives them maximum points. And you know, when I look at this side, especially in European football, I don't know what it is about them, but they seem to perform well, or perform better away for him, as other good results so far in European football has been away, which is a very ominous feeling when they're travelling to Ibrox tomorrow, especially with how badly we're actually playing. Now, of course, there will be some people that's probably already screamed into the comments section below, ICG might be talking about this team, but remember what the manager says. They're going to be rotating, they're going to be resting their key players because they want to focus on league football ahead of this game, and he's willing to rotate to Rangers to not play a fully fielded strong side, which obviously Twitter had fun when we had a wee jokes and everything like that, calling them staunch, calling them this, calling them that, and calling them the best manager performance we've seen at Ibrox for a little bit of a while. But I don't know if that's true or if it's a wee bit in mind games, right? Because the manager did come out and say he wouldn't be fielding the strongest 11, as he wants to focus on league football. That's his main focus. But if you actually look at it, when he said those quotes and when he said that, they were still struggling. They weren't finding their ways. Since saying that, they've got back to winning ways, and they're showing real consistency, again being the most informed side in Romania with that undefeated streak. So does the manager really want to throw a team out there, rest and rotate a couple players, just keep them for a league and rip up the momentum? Stop the belief, stop the undefeated streak. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, but again, it might do, ladies and gentlemen, so we're not going to dive too much into specifics in the way they play and they go about their business, because again, the manager's told us he's going to be changing things round for this game. But I do think there's been a little bit of mind games from the FCSB manager, and to be fair, it's worked, because since saying that, since he's saying he's needing to rotate this, since saying he's going to be doing that as the league is the full focus, all they've done since that quote is win games of football. So aye, it's actually just challenging the players publicly, putting the pressure on them, and they've performed instead of coddling them and being too scared to take any action. But whether or not it was mind games and whether or not they are going to be rotating and resting several key players, the fact remains that they will be, without a shadow of a doubt, without their best player in my personal opinion. It's Big Darius, their captain, man that sits in the number 10 role, that scores the goals, that creates, that is obviously their focal threat, is actually going to be missing no matter what, whether rotation is actually happening. After starting the Europa League campaign off brilliantly with 2 goals in 2 games and 1 assist, he also picked up 2 yellow cards in the PAOK game and was suspended, so he is missing this game no matter what, which makes it a very, very interesting conversation when you think about how they're going to be played, because so much actually goes through him that now that he's off the table, you look at, and again, I'm not being disrespectful, again, I don't know every in and out about FCSB, but looking around elsewhere, there's not a direct replacement, there's not a young laddie that can come in, there's not another guy that plays that role. Their captain, Darius, is their guy. You know what I mean? He pulls the strings, he does a wee bit everything, and everything filters through him. So what do they do now with that position? Without like a successor in the number 10, did they play another winger? Because they've got about 458 of them. Ladies and gentlemen, every single one of them is rapid. Does he do that? Or was he, what I think he will do is maybe drop him back a little bit and play a flat 3 in the middle rather than the traditional 4-2-3-1 with Darius sort of being the anchor in that 10 role. I think that might just drop back a little bit and they'll play a flat 3, especially considering the fact that they're not only missing their captain, they're also missing arguably their most consistent centre midfielder, as Big Sooty is out, as well as he's been given compassionate leave for this game, and that is 2 massive holes in this side, whether they're rotating or no. If that was their starting 11, I'd be delighted with 2 of them. If they're rotating, the fact that there are also 2 missing those 2 players anyway is absolutely amazing to see as a Rangers fan. But again, without sounding like a broken record and bringing up something I just mentioned a minute ago, they are very, very quick on the transition. Their winging position is so stacked that 90% of their games they rotate out. You know what I mean? Whether they play 60 minutes, 65 minutes, another bunch of quick wingers come on. Every game you pretty much look at the 2 wingers, no matter who is starting, whether it is Tanasi or whether it is Balut. Apologies by the way, I probably butchered both of those names. I should have stuck with the first names like I did with Darius, but we tried. Whether it is them starting or not, what you'll notice is they'll play 65 minutes and they'll come off and more quick wingers will come on. And I do think after watching some of them, or trying to do obviously for this preview video and trying to give you my best opinion on it, a lot of it did filter through that number 10 position. But again, with him out the board now, does that mean they're just going to revert just to their winging position? Because they are a wing-based side anyway, but they normally punch it in the middle, then it goes back out. They're just going to bypass the number 10 completely and just attack the fullbacks with how pacey they've got and just run 60, 65 minutes and then bring on more quick wingers to run. I think that might be the case, and it might be a familiar story and a familiar outlook of an opposition attacking the fullbacks. The Rangers, sorry it's no breaking news, sorry it's no that, but with Darius missing, ladies and gentlemen, just watch how many times they run at both fullbacks, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are subbed off before the 70th minute. And with that being said, that's me sort of done and dusty breaking down FCSB. It's been a very interesting journey from really poor to dangerous, scoring loads of goals, keeping the back door shut, and again their European away performances have been excellent, and it's a very strange thing to look at. Most of their big results that they've had, both in qualifications to make it to the next round, to make it to the Europa League as well, has all came from their away performances, and they're coming to Ibrox where again so much pressure, there's so much discussion, there's so much negativity. If I'm honest, if there is one side that will probably thrive on that and it suits them down to a T at the European level, it's FCSB, as they've punished PAOK, they've punished Alask in the qualification, they punished Tel Aviv. Every home team that's had the pressure to attack them, they've just sat in and hit it wide. Sat in, played it middle, hit it wide, and used their pace to punish them. And aye, it's been a recipe of success against Rangers for a while, and it does worry me going into this game, because if they're going to find success, that's where it'll come from. And again, it suits them right down to the bone. But with that being said, that's us reached the end of the FCSB section. Let's get to the Rangers side then, shall we? And after making a 25, 26, maybe even 28 minute video at the weekend, expressing my displeasure, my frustration, my complete annoyance looking at this Rangers side, we're now needing more European magic. And it's funny, right, because it'll go either one of two ways. Either we'll continue with this pure regression of the squad, no style, no identity, punt long ball, punt long ball, punt long ball, Clement ball, or we'll do what we've done occasionally in European football and just find a way to win and distract us from what the clear problem is, and that is the lack of tempo and the lack of style. It is going to be very interesting to see how this game plays out. Again, I want to see us win, absolutely. There's not even a question in my mind, but I just wish the penny would finally drop and would see a wee bit of sun. Just put the teeth for. There's a hell of a lot of pressure now on Clement, and I'm not going to say this is the perfect opportunity to do this and drop Tav and drop this and try this. Go two up top, try this, because the perfect opportunity's been there for a while. As we said in the Kilmarnock preview video, it's beyond an opportunity. It's pure negligence now, what we're seeing from the coaching and management staff at Rangers not making the decisions. Right, well now there's pure pressure on them. Well, he's got a bulletproof vest or no, people are lining up to voice their displeasure at Clement. Will this finally push him to break beyond whatever the hell he is trying to do in our team and just go, you know what, this isn't working? Maybe now that the entire support is asking questions of me, will I finally do what's needed for the team and inject a wee bit of sun? And again, that is that tempo, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to be quicker. We've got to speed it up. And again, I'm just going to be that little broken clock on the time, all the time, and just hope I'm right once and the penny finally drops regarding the tempo. And we actually just turn it up. But again, unfortunately, when you look at the way FCSB plays and the way they've frustrated the home teams they've played, it's going to be the likes of Kilmarnock. It's going to be the likes of that. They're going to be able to sit in and just hit long balls to the channel. Sit in. That suits them doing to a T. So unfortunately, it's not one of these games where it's European football. The opposition will try to play football. That'll create gaps. That makes us look better than we actually are, because we don't make the gaps, but we exploit them in Europe. That's been our success over the last couple years. But you won't have that tomorrow. It'll be a similar test to what we faced at the weekend, almost down to the T. So it'll be interesting to see his approach in it. Is it still going to be the same laboured style of play, watching a team that doesn't want to come out, that's parking the bus to hit us on the counter? We're just going to run out of ideas as always. Unfortunately, I think it might be a frustrating day, but a day we should have enough of. But before I move on to maybe some of my other frustrations, I should say, I have been thinking a lot about the European football under Clement, and I know he did top the group, and I'm talking back to Beale there as well with the European football, and I just think, does anyone else feel like your fear factor, if you will, is actually just gone in Europe? Do you remember when teams used to be scared to players for a couple of years, under Gerrard, under Gio, because we knew the way we would start at Ibrox, the first 10-15 minutes would be right after them. We're putting crosses in, we're winning corners, we're popping shots, we're pressuring them because we're playing fast, we're getting it forward, and we're asking questions, keeping the crowd up on the feet. Now it seems slowly but surely, it's not just a Clement thing, but it's happened under Beale and it's happened under Clement. We've moved away from that frantic nature of playing in Europe that scared teams and shook players. We've heard it from managers, we've heard it from some of the greats of the game, what they felt with that atmosphere. All that's kind of gone now, as it's more surgical, it's more procedural, it's more robotic, if you will, and it just allows teams to settle, it allows the crowd to get down, frustrated, and then it just plays into the hand of the opposition. And sorry to mention the word tempo again. I know I mentioned it a lot in the preview video for Kilmarnock, I mentioned it a lot here, but I'll just look back at the old European games, the Leipzig game and all these games, the Red Star game. The way we started games at Ibrox was incredible. When's the last time we started that fast in Europe? I think we're really, really losing our spark and losing our fear factor in Europe. And another bad result tomorrow will make whatever fear factor we have left non-existent, troops. And it's a sad decline, not only the regression we've seen over the last year under Clement, but the last couple of years with all the good work and the nature we had in Europe that we built to that level where teams were scared to players. I don't think most teams are scared to players anymore, because we just play that European style, if you will, that everyone plays these days. Possession, possession, possession. Sad to see. So I guess if anybody is watching, I'd just love to know your thoughts on that, because I have went ahead and spent the last couple of days looking back at the European performances, looking at how we start games under Clement, even the games we got good result compared to Gerrard and Gio and the way we approached it. Have we lost our fear factor in Europe? Let me know down there in the old comments section below. And how would you get it back? Is the players just not good enough? Is it a style? Is it identity we need? Let me know down in the comments section below, as it's never just about me here, it's about the conversation. I'd love to know what you're saying on that. And the last little thing we need to talk about regarding the Rangers then is the old personnel and who's fit, who's available, etc, etc. And thankfully, there's been no fuller injuries from the weekend. You could argue that 11 players went missing at the actual weekend, and I'd have to agree with you there. But I do have one last frustration. Sorry, I know I'm being negative here, I know. But Danilo wasn't fit enough to make the bench in a game we lost versus Kilmarnock. 3 days later, however, he's able to play for the B team and score and play really well. And I know you might be thinking, oh, he's just moaning for the sake of moaning, and maybe I am, ladies and gentlemen. You can let me know down in the comment section below, but for me, that's just another symptom of what's actually wrong with this club. We are so safe. We just play the percentages every single time in the wrong way. There's just none. There's no, let's just put the foot down, let's just take the handbrake off, let's just go for it here, let's put it there. And again, if a guy's fit enough to start a game 3 days later, how on earth does he not even make the bench in a game with the likes of Kilmarnock? Oh, it's a plastic. Oh, you want to? Well, it's 3 points gone. If they can't play on plastic parks, why are we bringing them here? Why are they coming in? If they can't play on this day, if they can't play on this, why are they here? Maybe go to Scottish football and bring in people that can actually play week in and week out then. It's just a silly wee frustrating thing that I got, and I just went, of course Danilo doesn't even make the bench on versus Rugby Park, but then he goes ahead and plays and starts in the old game as well, a game that Hadji scored in. But we know the Hadji situation, he's now suspended, so that's fair and all that, and he's obviously ineligible for this game. I think I've said that. In fact, no, I haven't. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. But aye, that's it. I just feel like we just coddle these players. We're just too safe. We didn't take any risks. There's no injection. There's no aggression. There's none of that in the team. It's just slow, safe, robotic. That's how I really feel both on and off the park. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Everything else remains the exact same regarding the personnel, etc, etc. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are down in the comment section. Well, again, sorry if I'm a wee bit negative here and everything when I've got to the Rangers end, but there's just been too many warning signs, too many frustrations, too many times we could have put the team first, put the club first, rather than players' egos or fragile egos or protecting egos in there. Make the changes and do what we need to do. But I've been saying that now, what, since pre-season? I say the same thing every time. It's unfortunate, but that's the way we are. I'll just hope that tomorrow is the day that we finally do it. What about you? Do you think we'll see any change, or do you think it's just going to be the norm? I think it will just be the norm, but I do think we'll have enough to come across FCSB. I'm not expecting a world-day performance. I'm not expecting vast changes. I'm not expecting Clement to change anything besides his style of play, but I do believe we're going to have enough quality to get beyond this squad, and I'm going to go with the scoreline of Rangers 3, FCSB 1. Now, where's the goals coming from? But I believe in it, so that's what I'm going. Let me know your opinions, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow after the game, which will be an upload, a late upload by the time I get here and film, etc, etc. So, might see me about 1 o'clock and all that as well. And until then, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.